Hello students, how are you? I believe all of you are happy and healthy with your parents, with your friends. Let's get back to the text of the chapter Deep Water. This is part 3 of understanding the text. And we are on page number 27 of the book. On page number 26, whatever was depicted, this picture clearly shows all the emotions. It shows that how the young boy, William Douglas, was drowning in water, without any help, without anybody to look out for him, and he was all alone in that huge swimming pool with clear water. But when he was inside the water struggling so hard, the water appeared to him like a solid mass, so dark that nothing can be seen through it, and so tight and clutching that you cannot get out of the trap. What happened afterwards? Let's go through it now. Page number 27, first line. And then, strangely, there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. At least my eyes were. My nose was almost out too. Then I started down a third time. I sucked for air and got water. The yellowish light was going out. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp. Limp is lifeless. So this is what is happening, that he tried thrice to save himself, to jump, get out of water somehow, but every time he failed. But this time he was losing all his energy, and it appeared to him as if his entire body has become lifeless. This is the phase of drowning when one is going in the clutches of death, in the lap of death. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp, and a blackness swept over my brain. It wiped out fear. It wiped out terror. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice. To be drowsy. To go to sleep. No need to jump. Too tired to jump. It's nice to be carried gently, to float along in space. Tender arms around me. Tender arms like mothers. Now I must go to sleep. I crossed to oblivion, and the curtain of life fell. These are the emotions of William Douglas when he lost all his energy, when he was finally drowning, sinking in water, taking in water, getting inside the water deeper and deeper. When he felt no fear at all, no terror at all. Everything was beyond his control and he was only flying everywhere, feeling the light, feeling the lightness all around him. And as you can see in the text, there are the dots. After some words, there are the dots. What is happening? He is losing and gaining consciousness. Sometimes we try to go to sleep. We get in sleep, then suddenly we are taken out of it. We get in sleep, then suddenly we are taken out of it. It's like that. He was getting drowsy, sleepy, coming out, feeling something, again getting deeper, deeper into sleep, and again coming out of it. So that is how he was peaceful. It was so quiet. There is no need to fight back anymore. And he finally crossed to oblivion. Oblivion is the state of forgetfulness. It can be termed as when you are asleep. It can be termed as when you lose consciousness, or in this case, it can be death, when we forget everything about us and we are in a completely different phase. Whether he died or not, let's see now. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool, vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, "But I was only fooling." Someone said, "The kid nearly died. Be all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room." Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak and trembling. I shook and cried when I lay on my bed. I couldn't eat that night. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. These are all the aftermath. What happened afterwards? Afterwards of the misadventure that happened in the YMCA swimming pool with William Douglas. He could not sleep properly. He could not eat properly. Whenever he would try to work hard, move, exercise, what would happen? His legs would become wobbly. His knees would become wobbly. They would start shaking with fear. And something churned inside his stomach also. And he did not know what to do, how to handle the situation. Every time it happened. This is called hydrophobia. He was afraid of water. He was afraid of water bodies. And he could not control his physical and emotional status. So this is what it was happening. The fear of water was always there, and poor Douglas could not help it out. Whenever he tried to do some work, go near water, he was always clutched in the terror of water, or you can call it hydrophobia. I never went back to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. A few years later, when I came to know the waters of the Cascades, I wanted to get into them. Cascades, it's usually a small waterfall, but it might be the name of the waterfall also. Because it is a noun, that is why it starts with a capital C. And when he heard about the small waterfall, he wanted to get into that. And whenever I did, whether I was wading the Titan or bumping river or bathing in the warm lake of the Goat Rocks, the terror that had seized me in the pool would come back. It would take possession of me completely. My legs would become paralyzed. Icy horror would grab my heart. So it was not like that he never tried to get in water, enjoy the water bodies. But whenever he tried to do so, he always failed. Because he was completely under the control of hydrophobia. The same terror which made him frightened in the swimming pool years ago was still all around him, hovering around him, not ready to go back. Well, this handicap stayed with me as the years rolled by. In canoes on main lakes fishing for landlocked salmon. Well, here I would like to refer to the word canoe in the last line, C-A-N-O-E. These are two canoes here made up of wood, and as you can see in the picture, one or two people can sit in them. Using the oars, they can move in any water body like a lake or a pond or a brook also. In canoes on main lakes fishing for landlocked salmon, bass fishing in New Hampshire, trout fishing on the Deschutes, and Metolius in Oregon, fishing for salmon on the Columbia, at Bumping Lake in the Cascades. Wherever I went, the haunting fear of the water followed me. It ruined my fishing trips, deprived me of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. So the handicapped stayed with William Douglas for many years. He could not enjoy swimming, he could not enjoy fishing, he could not enjoy canoeing like his friends, his family. Whenever he tried to catch fish also, that catching fish is something to be done when you are sitting outside the water body. Even then he could feel the fear of water. So his life was completely ruined. He could not enjoy the freedom of a holiday, sitting beside a beach, sitting beside a lake or a river. That is when he decided he must get out of it. How can he be always clutched in the fear of water? How will he live his life? And that is when he tried to do something about it. Let's see what he did in the next paragraph. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. So what did he do? When he decided to get out of this fear and he tried to do this and that and tried to do all by himself, the result was always in negative. That is when he decided to hire an instructor. He tried to take professional help. And this is very important, students. When you are suffering, physically, mentally, emotionally, never hesitate to take professional help. Mental trauma, mental issues, emotional issues are something that we always hide away. We never try to take help of the psychologists. We always think that people will think that we are mad. No. If you are suffering from a phobia, take medical help, professional help. Because it is not for somebody else. You are not doing this for someone else. You are doing it for yourself. The same happened with William Douglas. He decided to hire a professional instructor to make him learn how to swim. So, how did it start? It started in October. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. The instructor put a belt around me. A rope attached to the belt went through a pulley that ran on an overhead cable. He held on to the end of the rope and we went back and forth across the pool, hour after hour, day after day, week after week. On each trip across the pool, a bit of the panic seized me. Every time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope and I went under, some of the old terror returned and my legs froze. It was 3 months before the tension began to slack. SLACK is lesson. Lesson as in LESSEN. So he started in October and for 3 months they were only moving in water, walking in water, so that the narrator could stand in water. Otherwise, what used to happen? Whenever he would be beside the water body, his knees would become wobbly and churning in his stomach and throbbing in his head. These are the symptoms of a phobia when you are suffering from a phobia. But with the help of the instructor, he started moving in the water, in the still water of the swimming pool, but he started moving. And slowly, after some months, that terror, that fear started lessening, becoming less. Then he taught me to put my face underwater and exhale, and to raise my nose and inhale. I repeated the exercise hundreds of times. Bit by bit, I shed part of the panic that seized me when my head went underwater. So he took up all the exercises suggested by the instructor. He took up all the tasks and completed them as suggested by the instructor, as instructed by the instructor. How to inhale, how to exhale, when to inhale, when to exhale. And he did that hundreds of times. And every time when he was doing it, he was not only learning how to swim, he was learning how to get away from that fear, the fear that seized him for so many years. Next paragraph. Next, he held me at the side of the pool and had me kick with my legs. For weeks, I did just that. At first, my legs refused to work, but they gradually relaxed, and finally, I could command them. So you remember when he was in the swimming pool, his legs became paralyzed and rigid. And the same used to happen to him when he was learning how to swim again with the help of the instructor. But practice, more practice. After all, until when will the legs would not move? The legs started moving, relaxing. Thus, piece by piece, he built a swimmer. And when he had perfected each piece, he put them together into an integrated whole. In April, he said, "Now you can swim. Dive off and swim the length of the pool, crawl stroke." I did. The instructor was finished. So, in this manner, the instructor did his job perfectly. Starting from the month of October to the month of April, for 6 months regularly, the instructor and the narrator, William Douglas, learned, struggled, practiced, and the instructor succeeded in the end. The instructor succeeded to make William Douglas learn how to swim. Whether William Douglas was finally finished or not, that is something we need to see. So with this, I would like to close up this particular session too. And this is the quote that I believe goes along with the text this time. Well, it's going to be hard, but hard is not impossible. Like William Douglas, how he was drowned in the swimming pool, how he was handicapped, afraid of water for many years. He could not enjoy his boating, swimming, canoeing, and his life at all. But then he decided to get over it. He learned for 6 months regularly, practiced a lot, hour after hour, day after day, week after week. But it was definitely not impossible. And in 6 months, he learned how to swim. And that is how he is going to get out, become free of the clutches of the fear that seized him for many years. We will take up the last part of the text in the next session. Thank you for listening to me.